What's up, guys? Here it again, back with another video. And it's first thing in the morning. I'm at a consignee waiting for my turn to get unloaded. It's actually pretty early. It's about 6:30 or so. These guys don't open until 7 a.m. but I like to wake up at least a half an hour earlier, or at least get started a half an hour earlier with just being up and ready, because a lot of the time these places, their first arrivals as far as like their employees, a lot of those guys will just want to get their day started as well. And if you're already out and just like up awake, they can tell you they'll unload you if you're ready to get up. So that has worked out for me more often than not. But with that, if you have a tarp on your load, don't take the tarp off until you've cleared that with somebody. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But the place that I'm at right now, I've actually been here in the past. The last time that I was here, it rained, and I was sitting out here because I had a tarp load of drywall like I have right now. I was sitting out here for 2 hours, maybe a little bit longer than that, waiting for the rain to stop before they could unload me. It was a drag. I hate when that happens. That's one of the drawbacks of flatbedding. Like if you have a tarp load or something that can't get wet, if you're delivering to a place that is outdoors, a lot of the times there's nothing you can do, and you just got to sit there and wait for Mother Nature to decide to stop pouring water on you before you can get moving and get that load off of your trailer. But enough with that. I already went inside and got cleared to go ahead and untarp the load that I got. It doesn't look like it's going to rain out here, so we're going to go ahead and do that so we can get ready. I'm the second guy in line. There was another guy that was here last night before me, so he'll be going up. But I'm going to go ahead and get this tarp off, and let's get to it. As I was saying earlier, when you have a tarp load, you don't want to go ahead and start untarping until you're cleared. I know a lot of guys want to get a head start on the day and just take all their securement off and all their tarps off and be like completely naked on the trailer as soon as possible, but that can come back to bite you. You know, I've seen a couple of scenarios personally where drivers had their freight rejected because they took their tarp off too soon. Either they took it off the night before and the morning condensation, the dew settled on their load and it got wet, shipper rejects it, or they just untarped, and when the shipper arrived in the morning, they saw a load on a trailer without a tarp on it, and they just take, I guess, the precaution on their end of assuming that it was not tarped at all, and they rejected it. Those drivers were having a bad day after that. You know, don't shoot yourself in the foot. You know, wait to untarp your load. You may be saving yourself, 20-30 minutes of that untarping time, but if it comes back to bite you, you've lost all that time and more, plus the money of having a rejected load and having to go take it back to the shipper and all this other foolishness that you got to do. So just wait a little bit longer. It's worth the time. But this place is wide open, and like I said, the last time that I was here, it rained. So I sat pretty much in a similar spot to this, waiting for like 2.5 hours before I could start untarping everything. But we're gonna go ahead and knock it out now, and we'll see what we can get into and how long it takes for them to actually start unloading me here. That guy over there is going to be first, and then it'll be me. Having a hand truck like this will save your lower back over time. Trust me. Having to pick tarps up every other day or however frequently you do it, especially if you have to do it in the snow when it's slippery, this thing can be a lifesaver. Keep you from hurting yourself, take the strain off your lower back. Highly recommend. I'll leave a link to where you can get one. Check it out in my Amazon store. Camaraderie approved. All right, we are untarped, unstrapped, and we're just waiting now for our turn to get unloaded. They're still dealing with their own trucks right now. As you can see, they just got finished with that guy right there, and then they're working on that one over there. I don't know how many more of their trucks they're gonna work on. I see at least 2 trucks that are up there in the unloading area, so I'm not quite sure how long I'm gonna be here. The last time I was here, as I said before, it was raining and I was waiting a while on top of them dealing with their own guys, so they were like doing a mad dash scramble to try to load their own guys up as quickly as possible before the rain got too heavy, and then they had to stop once the rain started really pouring down, and then load like 1 or 2 more of their guys before they got started with me and the other trucks that are out here. So the rain's not going to be an issue today. You guys can see how bright and sunny it is. But something that I did want to touch on is one of the things that I really like about flatbedding. You guys saw it on camera there. I was taking down my tarps and folding them, and the driver that arrived this morning that's behind my truck just walked up on his own accord and just started helping me fold my tarps. That's one of the great things about flatbedding. You know, I've had that happen to me multiple times over the years, where drivers just come up and start helping you. And the thing about it is, like, it's never always, or I should say, let me rephrase that, it's not just, you know, other people that work for the same company as me, just flatbedders in general. You know, guys will come over and help you fold your tarps. I've helped guys fold their tarps up, because every flatbedder knows dealing with your tarps is the most annoying, difficult, intensive part of the job, depending on what season you're in. Tarping is never fun. Untarping is never fun, especially in the wintertime, trying to fold hard, crispy tarps that do not want to compress and are not very malleable. But that wasn't a particular issue today, but definitely appreciated. So always pay it forward, or I try to. You know, if somebody helps you take down your tarps, you know, see if they still have their tarps up and offer to help them with their tarps too. You know, it's always appreciated. But there are some drivers out there that will be particular about their tarps. Some guys don't want help, and then some of the guys that will accept your help are very meticulous or anal about how they want their tarps folded. Fortunately, I haven't run into any guys like that. That's annoying. If you're that particular about how your tarps need to be folded, then just don't accept help. Just do it by yourself. Say, no thank you, I'm good. Because I've seen drivers react like that, you know, being super picky about how their tarps are folded and wanting to reopen tarps and start all over again. Forget that. Do it by yourself. So we're just waiting here. In the meantime, in between time, I'm gonna go ahead and make myself something to eat and see what else I can do, because I have a whole lot on my plate outside of just my job that I'm doing right now. So when I have downtime like this, you know, I can make phone calls, check in on the family, see how everybody's doing for the morning, attend to other business matters, and just have some zen, quiet, woo-saw time where I can just chill and not be doing anything. So I'm gonna do that, and I will check back in with you guys once we have some action. And I'll actually keep track of how long I'm sitting here waiting. So I see the time right now, it's like 7:17 in the morning. So I got up at like 6:40, and actually like 6:30, started dealing with my straps and my tarps and everything. So we'll see. Hopefully it's not too long. All right, we're unloaded now, and I actually have my next dispatch already. So I'll be heading off to that shortly. I think it's about 2 hours away from my current location. But the good thing about places like this, when you check your load notes and it says whether or not the place you're picking up from or delivering to has on-site parking, when they says there is on-site parking, I'm thinking and I'm wanting something like this. A huge, big open lots. I delivered down there, and when you come to a place like this, you don't have to worry about it if you don't get dispatched right away. You have a place to sit, you can pull off to the side, be out of everybody's way, and just hang out for a minute until you get your next dispatch, or if you need to do something before you leave, it's perfect for that. But yeah, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here, and we'll see what we're about to do. It's a load of shingles that I'm picking up, and I don't believe that I've been to this place before, but we're taking it east. So I'll catch up with you guys once we get to the shipper. All right, I'm here at the new shipper. I actually already got loaded. This place, I did not have to wait long at all, so I didn't really have the time to set up and talk to you guys beforehand. I got a load of shingles on the trailer, but I mean, really, this place has been all I could ever ask for in a shipper. I showed up, they checked in. You check in with your phone, so they have one of those images that you scan, and you can go ahead and sign in right there, get the text message to let you know what you need to do next. I mean, I was moving within like 10 minutes of me getting here. You know, filled out myself, circled right around the back, only had one person ahead of me. They got loaded 5 minutes. I got loaded very fast as well. I wish every single shipper operated that way, where you could just be flowing like a clear stream, no impediments at all, and just come in, get out, done. But unfortunately, trucking is not like that. But today it was for me, so I'm happy. But we're gonna go out here, secure these shingles. Shingles are the fastest product that I really think I can secure. I can get a load of shingles all strapped down with edge protectors in 20 minutes. I think that's the fastest that I've ever gotten this done. So I should be able to get it done within 30 minutes, no problem, taking my time for you guys. And then we will be out of here. I actually have an 8-hour drive to go deliver this. It's going to North Carolina. But there's no on-site parking, unfortunately, where I'm going. I have about 8.5 hours left on my clock, so I will be pushing it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and strap down these shingles. All right, guys. Had a little bit of an issue that I noticed. My microphone timed out on me because of inactivity. I had my camera sitting for a second when I wasn't really using it. But everything is finished now. Standard shingle load. You want to make sure that you put the twists in your straps, because you can't strap shingles down extremely tightly because it's soft stuff. You don't want the glue to weld together, especially if you're securing something when it's hot outside, like during the summertime or, you know, warm spring day. If it's the winter time, it's not as big of an issue, but the twists keep the straps from vibrating in the wind like this. It'll make it look like your straps are loose. So you want to make sure you take care to do that and give your whole load a once over once you're done securing everything, to make sure that you actually put an edge protector on both sides of your trailer underneath each and every strap. So we're looking good here. But one thing that I forgot to mention when I first started securing this, and well, I'll come back to that. But I forgot to mention for you guys, I've mentioned it in a previous video, but before you start securing your shingles, make sure that all of the shingles are pointing in the correct direction. Sometimes the shingles will be loaded up with like 3 of them facing one way, and then there's like one right here that's facing the other direction. You want to make sure that you go ahead and move everything so that the straps are actually covering every piece of the freight that is open to the sky. That way you don't have loose pieces of freight that could just easily wiggle their way off of your trailer and cause some kind of accident and get you in trouble. All right, so we're done with that. Got the stay pocket winch locked down. This thing is great if you have a Benson trailer like myself and your winches won't move as far forward as you need to because of that track ending right there. That's what the stake pocket winch is for, guys. And as I said previously, I will leave a link or a card in there for you guys if you want to purchase one of these tools for yourselves, just in case you ever run into that issue, which you very, very, very likely will if you work for a company or this company that uses Bensons and has a large quantity of them in the fleet still. So just be prepared for every situation. It served me well. But yep, that's pretty much it, guys. Let's go ahead and get out of here. We got an 8-hour drive, but like I said, I'm only gonna drive like 6.5 hours, depending on parking availability, but I have a spot picked out. Let's get on the road. All right, guys, it is about 10 o'clock roughly, and I ended up stopping a little bit shorter than I wanted to. I just ran into so many slowdowns on my way to North Carolina. I'm actually still in Georgia, slightly before the South Carolina state line, but I ran into the rush hour traffic going through Atlanta on I-85, per usual, going through that area. It's always terrible, very slow, especially if you go through there in the early morning or in the afternoon. I mean, it was actually like 7:30-ish going through there, going up around that loop off of 285 to get you back onto 85. That's the worst part of it. Worst part of it. Super slow going up that ramp and coming back around, and it's slow when you get down there if you're familiar with the area. But yeah, it was that. Car accidents. Car accident on the oncoming side of the highway. People on my side of the highway slowing down to look at it. It's just a mess. And then I ran into construction on top of that. So I just pretty much just got fed up with everything. I was like, you know, tonight's not the night. I'm just gonna cut it off early, you know, before I get frustrated and before I get involved in any of the foolishness that's going on out here on the roads. Because it was a bunch, man. Semi truck sideswiped like 2 other vehicles on the opposite side of the highway, and like it was a multitude of things going on in like a 3 or 4 hour span of me driving, man. It's sometimes, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced it, but I have before, you know, like either I'm driving on the road for work or I'm driving at home and I'm just seeing too much road activity, and it's just one of those days or one of those nights when you're just like, man, let me get off the roads here. Just let me, you just get that intuition. You're just like, man, let me get out of here. I don't want to be involved in any foolishness. Just let me get out of here. That's how I was feeling tonight. So I decided to cut it off. And in addition to that, you know, I'm gonna get to the Constantine at the same time tomorrow that I would have gotten there if I had driven as far as I wanted to. I was originally going to get to my stopping point. The camera cut off on me. But I was gonna say that I was going to get to my originally planned parking place around 11:45. I'm gonna end up getting to the Constantine tomorrow at the same time that I would have gotten there had I just driven as far as I was planning on going tonight anyway. Just those extra hours, I'm gonna have to just drive it in the morning, but it's no big deal. All right, guys, what's up? It's the next day, and I actually ended up leaving like an hour later than I was originally planning to this morning, just because I got held up at the truck stop. I ended up needing to replace one of the lights on the trailer. During my pre-trip, I saw one of my trailer lights was not working, one of my turn signals, so I had to replace that. And it took me a little while to get that thing shimmied out of there and swap that all around, but it's all good. So we are at the Constantine now. As you can see, they got shingles and a lot of stuff. This is actually one of the places where they build those double wide trailer homes. So a lot of building materials for that. And I actually went inside their factory. They're like building those homes inside of those buildings back there. It's actually pretty interesting to see the process. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff unsecured and get unloaded. They're actually on their lunch break right now, so I think they'll be done in about 20 minutes or so. So that'll give me enough time to take down the securement and be sitting here waiting for them to go ahead and get me unloaded so we can move on to the next pickup. But let's get to it. Okay. Still, I'm here waiting to get unloaded now. It's about 1:30, which I didn't like that. I had to go back in there and check in and see where this unloader is supposed to be, because they told me that they would be back, or they'd be out once their lunch was done. He said that was around 1 o'clock. They'd be finished. And my load notes said to get here before 2 o'clock. So I'm thinking like they probably close or they stop receiving at like 2:30 or 3. I haven't seen a single unloader around this area yet. But like I said, I had to go in there and check and get with the office people. And the person I was talking to, she was like, they might be gone. I'm like, I know better than that. I know better than that. It's not 2 o'clock yet. You know, I know they better be here to unload me, but I guess they called somebody, so that they should be coming. But I haven't seen anybody yet. But while I'm waiting here, a couple of things. Well, one, it's later in the day. It's almost 2 o'clock. So the loads that are still available, I don't know what it's going to be like. But the thing that should hopefully work in my favor, I don't know about how well the load will pay, but to have something on the trailer. Well, here comes the forklift operator right now. Awesome. But the thing, there's like 6 different shippers that TMC uses that are within an hour of my current location. One of them is only 5 minutes away, literally, right down the street from where I'm delivering right now. So I don't know if I'm going there or not, but as long as I have a load on the trailer, with it being so late in the day, I'd rather have a load on the trailer and, you know, have it pay okay versus going home empty. And that happens to drivers from time to time. If you are in a bad spot at the wrong time, or you're too late in the day getting empty, you know, different things can happen. One other thing that I wanted to talk about being overweight. I'm not overweight on this load, but there was a driver that was over here when I first showed up. He didn't have a load of shingles, but I guess he delivered shingles here in the past. He was saying that he was overweight one time, and he was about to go through a DOT scale, or he saw it coming on his driving app, and he knew he was overweight, but he thought he was going to be able to just run it and run back roads. You know, play that game if you want to. I don't really do that, just because I don't want to have the have the problem when I'm just up a creek without a paddle and there's nothing I can do about it. But this driver told me that he was heavy on the front, and he said that he took those pallets shingle stack by shingle stack and moved them from the front of his trailer to the back by hand. Do you know how much work that is? Hold on, let me show you guys something real quick, because that to me is absolute craziness. I would never do that unless I'm like super desperate, because that's a whole lot of work for one person to do, picking up all those shingles and then walking around with them. But let me show you real quick. That driver said that he took 2 pallets, the front 2 pallets, and moved them pallet stack by pallet stack, meaning a single one of these at a time, from the front of his trailer to the back, to try to disperse some of the weight. I don't know if he put them all in the back, or if he like added some to the stacks of pallets he already had just further down the trailer. I don't know, but that to me, absolutely not, man. That is a mountain load of work, doing that over and over again. I don't know how many shingles are on these pallets. A single pallet, that's more work than I care to put myself through. You'd have been better off. I mean, I guess I get it. You know, if he decided, or he found out that he was overweight and he's far away from the shipper, but that's why you want to go ahead and scale your stuff either at the shipper tentatively, because a shipper scale is not going to be 100% accurate. But if not, you want to go to a cat scale. And I have a video about cat scaling. If you haven't already seen that video, definitely check it out. I'll put a card up here. Super important information. You know, it's a little bit of slow of a day just because of how late it is right now, but I'm within a stone's throw of home. Hopefully the load that I go to pick up is within that hour vicinity that I told you guys about, so I can go pick up and then just shoot on home and not have any issues. But like I said, I'll check in with you guys in a bit once I have word on that. All right, we got the next dispatch, and it's like 2:30 right now, and unfortunately, against my hopes, we have a dispatch. Get some better light for you guys there. We have a dispatch that is 2.5 hours away, which, depending on how you look at it, is not optimal as far as like me being close to home with it and all that. But I was thinking I was going to get something dispatched from like right around this general vicinity, because I told you there's like 6 different shippers that are within an hour of me. But like I said, it's later on in the day, so those loads that those other shippers may have had are likely already picked over, or they're not going in a direction that would be able to get me home and then, you know, make sense for delivery for the beginning of next week. So it is what it is on that. But it's like 2.5 hours west of where I am, and I'm gonna have to backtrack a little bit to come back home with it. But it is what it is. It's better than not having a load at all on the trailer. And let me see, just for my own reference, see how much this load pays. I can't tell you guys what it is. Ugh, yeah, it's a leftover load. I can't describe to you, or I can't tell you guys exactly what it pays, but it is a leftover load. Take from that what you will. But gonna go ahead and get that, take it home, and we will be out of here for the weekend. I am ready to be out of the truck. So let me go ahead and get to that. I might take you guys along with me just to see me load this one up here, and we'll see how it goes after that. Let's get on the road. All right, got to the shipper, 2.5 hours away. My duty time ended up catching up to my drive time now. I didn't do a split log today. I wasn't really gonna wait around for that. There wasn't any reason to. So I'm about 2 hours away from home right now, and I believe I have about 3 hours and 40 minutes left on my clock to go ahead and finish securing this stuff and get myself on the road home. So I'm gonna show you guys what I got, because I want to go ahead and get this done very quickly in a very speedy fashion. So got, all right, here we have some lumber. I don't know if this is, oh, it's plywood, of course. Duh, it's right there. Plywood. But this stuff's super easy to deal with. Just straps over the top, really. So 3 straps on the first row, 2 within the first, I believe it's 5 feet. I believe that's the rule has to be. But everything else here is underneath 8 feet. So it's like 7-foot bundles. So just 2 straps, 1 front, 1 back. And I gotta tarp this. But this plastic stuff here, man, this stuff can be the bane of your existence if you have to use this on the load. As you can see, it's blowing around. It's windy out here right now. But I ended up putting my plastic on underneath that awning down there. It was a bit of a windbreak, because this stuff, the wind will take that. Look, if I didn't have this already pinned down, I put the plastic over it and I tied it to the rail here. If I didn't do that, this would have blown off, no question. But I put a strap in the very back and one of the front also to pin it down, because that stuff will get away from you if you allow it to. But guys, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and start strapping this. And one word of advice to protect yourself when you're dealing with this stuff: this plastic that you have to put over top of the freight to keep it dry is very, very slick if you have to get up here and walk on it. Now, this company here, the shipper, they have, looks like the infrastructure for fall protection, but they don't actually have harnesses. You see, that's the hook that you would hook up to your back, but there's no harnesses around here. They don't have harnesses. They don't have anything for me to get that hook down with or anything, so they don't really have fall protection here anymore. Maybe they did at one point, but all of their fall protection setups are like that. There's 4 of them, so 2 here, and then there's, well, actually no, there's only 3 of them. So there's 1 up there. There's a couple of drivers up ahead of me. So I'm gonna have to climb up here freestyle and be very, very careful while I'm doing it. I have to pull my tarps out of the headache rack. I got one of them down in the side box, and then the other one's right here. Just gonna have to pick it up myself and put it up here and roll it across the top of the load for the one in the back and go from there, being very careful the whole time. And the wind's not strong enough today to pick the tarp up and blow the tarp off. Fortunately, I had to deal with something like that not too long ago. Yeah. Pray that you guys don't ever find yourself in a situation like that where the wind is strong enough to pick your tarp up and try to blow it off of your freight. It is definitely a very, very dangerous situation if you get caught in something like that. But that's not me today. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this strapped up, tarp down, so I can get on the road. I'm running out of time. All right, I'm making pretty good time. This stuff here, place this correctly. All right, yeah, but making pretty good time. I'm almost done. Got just a few more straps to go, and we can go ahead and do the tarp. The tarp is the worst part of securing anything, really. I'll be glad when I get a trailer swap, though. I can get rid of this Benson. As I showed you guys earlier in the video, you know, if you have the right tools, you can still work with a Benson and not have a problem, but it's just inconvenient. Having a Fontaine, it's a lot better. All right. Tighten this up a little bit more. Fontaine is just the placement of the holes where you need to hook your chains, plus the main thing for me, the rails. Not having your winches be stuck and not being able to go all the way to the front or the back of the trailer. I mean, it's annoying and inconvenient, especially when you got like lumber or, well, maybe not so much lumber, but certain types of freights that you need to place your straps just so to properly cover everything. It's just a little annoying, but I'll get off the soapbox about that. I'm sure I'll be doing a trailer swap with this thing soon enough. But still rocking with the ratcheting winch bar. Don't flatbed without it. This thing, man, I love this thing. It's probably one of my favorite flatbedder tools. I definitely use it the most frequently out of everything. As much winching as I do with the job. All right, now to the dangerous part, the tarping on a slick surface. Whew, all right, so we gotta go ahead and roll these tarps to the back. Well, one of them to the back. Gotta be very careful, especially this load. You guys can't see it from your position, but there's a couple of gaps up here. I need to be mindful, make sure I don't step in one of these gaps on my way back. I'm not gonna stand up on top of this. Just because it's a fall hazard. Even more so with the wind. What I'm planning to do, once I have this opened up, I'm gonna go ahead and hop back down and pin down the corners to keep the wind from getting underneath the tarp and blowing it off. That's the last thing that I need to have happen. I had a tarp blow off of my load one time years ago. Ever since then, I have never let that happen. I swore to myself I'll never go through that again. It happened when I was at a shipper, and I was the last person to get loaded right next to their closing time. So I had to pull the tarp up by hand because the load was too high up to be able to pick the tarp up like I did on this load. And there were no forklift operators to give me a hand. Definitely not a fun scenario to catch yourself in. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take the bungees that are on top of this tarp, and I'm gonna use those to pin down the corners in the middle. And then I don't have to worry about this thing getting blown off. And when you're dealing with any kind of load, really, whether it's windy, snowing, ice, rain, whatever, your best option to keep yourself safe on top of these loads is just crawl around. It'll keep your center of gravity low and reduce the risk of you getting blown over or you losing your balance, tripping over a strap that you got up here or an elevated piece of the freight. A lot of guys fall off their trailers and end up getting hurt really badly and get put out of commission for weeks. I was just talking to a driver yesterday that said his brother used to be a flatbed driver. I don't know if he still does it now, but he said his brother fell off of a load. And Ended up being out of work for a year because of the injury he suffered. And I know that I do not want any problem like that. And I'm quite sure that none of you guys watching this want that kind of problem either. So do what you can do to reduce risk and the possibility of injury when you're doing this job. Because like I've said multiple times in the past in my videos, you know, all it takes is a split second for you to change your life forever for the worse doing this job if you get hurt, because it's so easily to get hurt very badly due to the nature of flatbedding, you know. You could fall off of a load. You could get hurt by some of the heavy machinery in the areas that we deliver to or pick up from. You know, you could have part of your load fall over on you if somebody's unloading it. If you're not paying attention, if you're next to the load when it's getting unloaded or loaded, which you should not be, you know, you can get hurt. Somebody can run you over, or, you know, all kinds of things. Even this out. All right, thankfully, the wind's calmed down a little bit. It's not really blowing much now, so. All right, got the rear tarp pinned down. We're all good with that. Let's go ahead and do this one, then we bungee it down and we're getting out of here. Let's see. I got a gap right there. This huge section right there. I got to make sure I pay attention to that on my way back. All right. Now this is usually when the tarping part becomes the most dangerous, because as I showed you guys before, there's a gap right here. There's no freight right here. There's an empty space. So it's important to make sure you're mindful and you know where that is. But just in case you're in a scenario where you forget where the gaps are, just stay on a surface where you know there is freight and just test it either with your feet or your hands while keeping the majority of your balance on the stable surface. Just tap it. Don't commit to it. Just tap it so you know where the empty space is and where there's actually solid footing, so you don't end up stepping in a gap, falling off of your trailer, and severely injuring yourself. And something that's really important with all this is stuff like that. I consider it, you know, the fundamentals of trucking or fundamentals of flatbedding. You know, just being careful. A lot of guys that have been doing the job for years, they get complacent and don't pay as much attention to things as they should, and that's how you open yourself up to accidents, whether you're driving or working around the road or working around a warehouse or shipper, consignee, wherever. Not paying attention to the simple stuff. Hurt yourself really badly, get into an accident or something like that. But let's go ahead and get this bungee down. We made it through safely. All right, guys, I'm finished now with all of the tarping and securing. I'm ready to go home, and not a moment too soon, because my clock is getting kind of low. I still got a little bit of time, wiggle room, just in case something happens, but I'm ready to go. And I don't know, I don't think I was moving all that fast, but those two guys right there, they were securing their stuff. They were actually already on their tarping when I first came around with mine. I'm finished, and all these guys are still working on theirs. That guy came up after me, but just curious, maybe those guys aren't as excited to go home as I am. I don't know. But, you know, run your own race, of course. But yeah, I need to get out of here because it's going to take me 2 hours and 9 minutes to get home, and I've got 2 hours and 52 minutes available. My time is counting down. I don't have a split log or anything, so my duty time is going. That's all I got. So I want to hurry up and get out of here. just in case I run into any slowdowns on my way home. It's only 2 hours, but you never know what might happen. The way that I have to go home from here, there's not really any very busy areas of the road that I have to go through, so I'm not too worried about it. More so, I gotta hope that there's still some free parking when I get home. I've got a few spaces, a few different places that are close by to where I live, so if one of them is filled up, I can just bounce down the road to the next. That's something you guys need to have set up for yourselves as well. If you are watching my videos and you are thinking about becoming a truck driver or thinking about working at TMC or any other place, just go ahead and do your preliminary checks and see, what places are, or where are the places to park a semi truck where you live. Like, do you have a special nook, where it's okay for you to park a full size, like 53-foot trailer, depending on what company you're working with? Are there truck stops near you? Mom and pops, whatever. Just something to look out for, because like not every trucking company has a yard where you can bring your truck back to at the end of the week. And not every guy or every person that works for a trucking company, has the benefit of living close to a company terminal or having it right in the same city that they live in. You just go to the company terminal. Lucky for you guys that work or that live near Columbia, Des Moines, Brownsburg, and I forget the one in Missouri, Joplin. If you guys live over there, you guys got it easy as far as a place to park. But without further ado, guys, I'm done. This video's been going on for a minute, so I'm just kind of yapping, but I'm ready to go. I appreciate you all watching and seeing the little bit of a hectic last couple of days of my week that I've had, but it's not like that all the time. But I appreciate you all watching. If you enjoy this content, make sure you hit the notification bell so you'll be notified anytime that I drop a new video. And make sure you comment, subscribe. I will reply to the comments. I try to hit everybody up as much as I can. Sometimes I might miss you, but I might come back to your comments like a week or two after you left it, and I'll leave a response, if your comment warrants one. But I appreciate you all watching, guys. I'm going home. I'm done. Air it out.